So, a lot of folks were asking me if I could do a draw my boat. I wasn't really sure what they meant by that. So yeah, I looked on YouTube and saw what a draw my life or draw my house was about. And so I'm going to introduce you to our boat, Norna. And I kind of go into a few things, like the different types of hulls and things. But our boat is a monohull. It's not like a catamaran or a multi-hull. So I don't go into the multi-hull. I just stick with the monohull and the basics, really. And ours has a tiller. Some boats have a wheel. And I just kind of explain a few things about the different parts to the boat. There's a lot of folks that are interested and don't know these things, so I thought I'd go ahead and post that for all you that don't know the different parts to a boat. Here it is. The first part of the boat is the most important part, and that's called the hull. And there's different types of hulls on different boats. Ours is what's called a full keel. Some have a cutaway, so it's easier to tack. And some boats have what's called a fin keel. Next is the rudder, which is what steers the boat. And our rudder is actually attached to the transom. So it's called a transom hung rudder. Some boats don't have a transom hung rudder. The tiller is attached to the rudder. That's the arm that moves the rudder so that you can steer. And then you have the cabin house. There's different parts to a boat. The forward part on ours is called the forecastle. Some people call it the V-berth. Next is the main cabin, or the main salon. And that's usually what would be considered the living room. And then we have also a cockpit, which is the center of the boat, sometimes kind of more towards the back. And then there's the aft cabin where we sleep. Some boats don't have an aft cabin, and those are ports, which are windows. And on a boat, you have the forward part of the boat is called the bow, and the back part of the boat is called the stern. And on the port side is the left side, and on the starboard side is your right side. And for navigational lights, your red light is on your port side, and your green light is on your starboard side. Next important part of a sailboat is your mast. And also, you might need a boom. Some don't need a boom. Boom's also called a boom boom if you're too slow to move out of the way, because the boom can hit you in the head. The gaff, because we have a gaff rigger, and our mainsail. And there's different types of sails. I'll go into that later. But for the gaff rigger, there's different kinds of reefs. Pardon this reef, it's a little too small, but anyways, there's different kind of reefs so that if the winds get too strong or heavy, you can pull that gaff down and slow the boat down a little. Next is the bowsprit and the square sail, or yard arm. And for our square sail, or yard arm, we actually have two separate sails that hang off it. Some have one sail. Ours are two separate, so it's kind of like a Viking ship. So that is the outer headstay and the inner headstay. And then you have what's called the outer jib. And next is the inner jib, or staysail. And for your jibs, usually you tie a line to the bottom of them, and you pull them in so that you can catch the wind. And we have a cutter rig, so we have two separate jibs. And the outer jib is usually on our bowsprit, and it's attached with hanks onto our outer staysail. And it's tied to the top and through a block, and that's a block. And some blocks are double blocks. And you can use what's called a purchase. and pardon my drawing here, I was trying to hold the camera while drawing. That is what's called the purchase, so it goes through these blocks, and it's attached there, and it goes through there to make it easier for whoever's pulling it in, or up, to pull up the heavy object. And so the sail is pulled through this block, and you pull it up, and that sail rides on that outer head stay, and it's attached with hanks. And it's the same with the inner jib. The inner jib does the same thing. It's attached on the inner staysail, and you pull it up the same way. So there it is. Norna. This is a Paper Sailor production. Please visit papersailor.com to learn more about Accidental Sailor Girl.